Let us come to the most important and a challenging part of this question paper. This year, CBSE has introduced a case study based question. There will be total 4 questions in this. And let me start with the first question. The first question is based on sunroom. Here we have a 3D picture of that room, and it has something very special. Let us start. Let me explain you what is the sunroom here. It will be built onto the wall of a house. The 4 walls of a sunroom are square clear glass panels. The roof is made using. The roof of this house will be having 4 clear glass panels, trapezium in shape and all of same size. There will be total 4 glass panels which all are in the trapezium shape and the size is same. यहाँ पर एक जो टेरेस है टॉप ऑफ द हाउस है उसमें टोटल 4 ट्रेपेजियम है जो कि ग्लास के बने होंगे सो दैट देयर विल बी इनफ लाइटिंग. Second thing, one tinted glass panel half a regular octagon in shape. Then we have a tinted glass panel which is not transparent, and here it is in the shape of half of a regular octagon. Now we have a description of this whole image into 2 parts. One is top view and other one is front view. Based upon this graph given in the question paper, we have to find out the answers of any 4 question out of 5 given question. Means यहाँ पर आपको total 5 question मिलेंगे, उन 5 question में से किसी 4 को आपको attempt करना है. तो ऐसे total 4 questions हैं जो case study based है. This is from your syllabus only. On different topics you will be getting something interesting where you have to go through the basics of your chapter related concepts, and then only you will be find out the answers of this question. So let us start with the questions one by one, then we'll be able to understand what is exactly this thing is. So the first question in this question number 17 is, we have 2 points out of a figure. We have to find the midpoint of line segment joining these 2 points J and I, whose coordinates are given to us. Clearly, here we have to assume that J is having coordinates x1, y1, that is equivalent to 6, 70. The point I is having the coordinates x2, y2, that is 9, 16. Now, the coordinates of midpoint, we have a midpoint formula, that is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. The coordinates of midpoints of any 2 points is calculated by using this relation x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. It is a special case of section formula where the ratio is equal. Then the section formula, if we substitute the value of m1, m2 equal to 1, this becomes this way. So here let us substitute the values. x1 is 6, x2 is 9 upon 2, 17 plus 16, y1 plus y2 upon 2. So from here we are getting 15 by 2 and 33 by 2. So this is the correct answer. We have 4 different options here. So we can take the answer 15 by 2 and 33 by 2, which is your third option here. Let us come to the B part of question number 17. The question is the distance of point P from y-axis. As you know, in coordinate, the distance from different coordinate axes, we can find out it very easily if we know the coordinates of the given point. Here, when we go through the graph given in the question, the coordinates of the point P, are 4, 8. The point P is 4, 8. So here we want to calculate the distance from y-axis. So the distance from y-axis is nothing but abscissa. abscissa of this point. So abscissa is 4. So this is a very simple question. If you are able to find out this point from the given graph, if you are able to find out the coordinates of point P by using the given graph, if you go through the graph, you will find out the distance from y-axis is 4 and the distance from x-axis is 8. So the coordinates are 4, 8. So clearly the distance from y-axis is missing. Let's come to the C part, the next part of question number 17. Again, this question is very simple. We have to calculate the distance between the points A and S here. The distance between the point A and S is, the first option is 4, second 8, third 16 and 20. Clearly, we have to use distance formula here, and for that we need the coordinates of point A and S. So by observing the graph, we can find out the coordinates of A and S. Coordinates of point A are 1, 8, and similarly the coordinates of point S are 17, 8. So if we apply the distance formula here, the distance AS will be nothing but, if we consider this as x1, y1 and this is as x2, y2. The distance formula is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So let us substitute the values here. x2 is 17 minus 1 whole square, 17 minus 1, x2 minus x1, then 8 minus 8, it is the same point. So this is what we are getting, this is 0. So we are getting here 16 square under square root sign, that is nothing but 16. So clearly the distance between these 2 points is 16. Here when we look at the points, there is no need to apply distance formula, as these points are having the same distance from y-axis. ये इनका जो y कोऑर्डिनेट है वो 8 है, तो इनकी जो डिस्टेंस है x एक्सिस से वो इक्वल है, मीन्स द डिफरेंस इज ओनली इन द x कोऑर्डिनेट. तो जो इन दोनों के बीच का डिस्टेंस होगा वो डायरेक्टली x कोऑर्डिनेट का डिफरेंस होता. So that's why 17 minus 1 is 16. So that can be done directly. So let us come to the fourth part of this. Here we have to find the coordinates of the point which divides the line segment joining the points A and B in the ratio 1:3 internally. We have 2 points A and B. So by observation we can find out the coordinates of A. The point A here is 1, 8, which we have used in the previous question, and the coordinates of point B here is 5, 10. Now we have to find a point in between. Suppose this is point A 1, 8 and this is the point B 5, 10. We have to find a point in between which let us call C is dividing this line into ratio 1:3. Clearly this is a question of section formula, and by applying section formula we can find out the coordinates of C. The formula is m1x2 plus m2x1 upon m1 plus m2. This is the x coordinate, and the y coordinate here is m1y2 and m2y1 upon m1 plus m2. Clearly we have to replace x by y in the first value. Let us substitute the values here. m1, the ratio is 1 and m2 is 3. So 1:3 is there, so m1 is 1 and m2 is 3. So m1 is 1 into x2 here is 5 plus m2 is 3 and the value of x1 is 1 upon 1 plus 3, m1 plus m2, comma, here m1 is 1, y2 is 10 plus 3 into y1 is 8 upon 1 plus 3. So here what we have, the coordinate of point C is 5 plus 3, 8 upon 4, comma, this is 10 plus 24. This is what we are getting, 10 from 1 into 10 and 3 into 8 is 24. So total is 34 divided by 4. So if we look at this, this is coming out to be 2 and The second point is coming out to be, if we divide 34 by 4, we'll be getting 8.5. So the coordinates of this point C, which will divide the points A and B by using section formula in the ratio 1:3, is coming out to be 2, 8.5. So the correct option here is 4, which is again a very simple formula based question. So we can say these questions which are based on case study are not tough, but we have a concept here that we have to find these coordinates of the given points by using graph. If you do not know how to find out the coordinates of these points, then you will not be able to solve the question. So let us come to the last question of this case study with question number 117. If a point x, y is equidistant from Q and S, the coordinates of Q are 9, 8 and the coordinates of S are 17, 8. Then we have the relation between x and y. This is a question of distance formula. Here we have to use one information that suppose this point is P and its coordinates are x, y, and it is given that the distance between these 2 points, means the distance of point P from Q, that is 9, 8, and the distance of point P from S, that is 17, 8, is equal. We have to find the relation between x, y. So let us start with the information. The distance PQ is equals to PS. It is given to us. So when we use the formula for this, we can square them, because we will be getting square root sign here. So if we square them, they will be equal. So let us apply the formula here. When we are writing PQ, the second point will be considered here. So 9 minus x square plus 8 minus y whole square is equals to, if we consider PS, then the second point will be considered by S. So 17 minus x whole square plus 8 minus y whole square. This relation we are getting from here. Clearly, when we look at this, this is 8 minus y square, 8 minus y whole square, this will be cancelled. So the whole equation here is coming in terms of x. Let us simplify this. If we apply a minus b whole square in both the sides, so what we will get, 9 square is 81, a square minus 2ab, so 2 into 9 into x, this we will get 18x plus b square, that is x square, is equals to 17 square, that is 289, minus 2ab, so minus 2 into 17 into x, this is 34x with a minus sign, then x square. So again we have a same term, x square and x square, this will be cancelled. Finally, if we bring this minus 18x is kept here and this 34x is brought to LHS, we'll get this. Then 289 and the 81 will come here, so we'll get minus 81. So on simplification, we are getting 34 with positive sign and 18 with negative sign. So here what we are getting, 34 minus 18 as 16x is equals to, when we look at this, we are getting 289 minus 81, which is nothing. When we solve this further, 18 minus 18x plus 34 is equals to 289 minus 81. We are getting 16x is equals to 308, and if we bring this 16 here, this will be in division. So when we divide this, we will be getting 1 and 3. So the value is coming out to be x is equals to 13, and as the answer is given in other format, x minus 13, we are having this answer as x minus 13 is equals to 0. So here clearly the second option is correct answer. So this is the end of question number 17. Again, we can say this is a case study bit question. It is a time taking question, because in each and every question we have to apply a different approach. based on that chapter. So we can say we have to be very careful while solving this question, as we have to answer any 4 out of 5, first thing. Second thing is that we have to go through the whole description given before each and every question. Then only we are able to solve this question. So let us come to the second question, which is based on the case study, and here this question is from chapter 6, that is triangles. As you know, it is related to the similarity. So here the whole discussion is about the similarity of triangles. And here one interesting description is given, that is scale factor is defined as length in image upon corresponding length in object. You can compare it with the magnification in your science. So here we have a different methods by which a similar triangle can be obtained. The first one is given as resizing. Means if we resize the sides of triangle, then we can get a similar figure. Second description given about the similarity is rotation or turn. If we rotate any figure by some angle, then the similarity of triangle will be there. Means अगर हम किसी triangle को rotate करते हैं तो वो triangle similar होगा previous triangle से. It is a quite obvious thing. Third thing is given as reflection or flip. As you know that if we take the reflection, which you must have done in your previous classes, in maybe in 7th. So there you must have drawn a figure and its reflection in x and y axis, means vertical and horizontal axis. So if we flip or take the reflection in any given line, then the figure will be similar to the previous figure. And the fourth and the last is given as the translation or slide. Means if we slide a figure from one position to other, then the two figures which was earlier position of that figure and now both the triangles will be similar. So we can say two steps are similar when one can become the other after a resize, flip, slide or turn. There are total 4 things: resize it, if we flip it or rotate it. Third thing is if we slide it or translate it, and the fourth thing is if we flip it or turn it. Turn means the rotation here. So this is all about the description. Now let us come to the question. The question is based on the similarity of the triangles, and where we have to use the concepts of similarity. And you know that there are various theorems in this chapter, so maybe we are using those theorems. So here the scale factor is defined as length in image divided by the corresponding length in object. So the first question which we'll solve here will be based on this formula only. So let us come to that. So the question here is, a model of a boat is made on the scale 1:4. The scale factor is given as 1:4. A model is 120 centimeters long. The full size of boat has a width of 60 centimeters. Here the length is given of the model, but here the length is given of the full size of boat. Means this is not the model this time. It is the object whose model is being made. What is the width of scale model? अगर हम यहाँ पर देखें, स्केल फैक्टर जो होगा वो लेंथ और ब्रेथ दोनों के लिए अप्लाई हो सकता है. द स्केल फैक्टर इज डिफाइंड एज लेंथ इन इमेज डिवाइडेड बाय करस्पॉन्डिंग लेंथ इन ऑब्जेक्ट. सो हियर we have to find out the width, so we can consider only the width of this. So we have to consider the width of the full size of boat. So clearly the scale factor here is 1:4, that is 1/4. The length in image we have to calculate, so let me call it as x, and the length in the object is the width here as 60 centimeters. So when we solve this, we will be getting cross multiplication. 4x is equals to 60. So from here x is coming out to be 15 centimeters. So here we had 4 options. The options are, first option is 20 centimeters. Second option given is 25 centimeter, and third option is 15 centimeter, and the fourth option is 240 centimeters. So clearly the third option 15 centimeter is correct here. इसमें कंफ्यूजन जो है वो क्रिएट किया गया है, आपको लेंथ भी दी गई है मॉडल की, बट द क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट द विड्थ। तो आपके पास जो ऑप्शन है जैसे 240 सेंटीमीटर है, तो ये ऑप्शन ऐसे दिया गया है कि आप इसमें कंफ्यूज हो जाएं कि लेंथ दिया हुआ है वो भी मॉडल का। तो somehow you have to be very careful while solving this kind of question, because the length is also given and the width is also given and you have to find the width. So we have to consider the dimension which is given as width and find out the required thing here, which is coming out to be 15 centimeters here. Come to the second part of this question. 18 question B part. It is a very simple question. What will affect the similarity of any two polygons? Out of these four options, in which condition the similarity of two polygons will be changed, means the polygon will not be similar? The first option is they are flipped horizontally. We have discussed these points in the description given in the question, that if we flip any polygon, then it will be similar to the previous one. So this is not the correct option. There will be no change in the similarity. The triangles will be triangle of the whatever polygon we are considering here, that will be similar. So this is not the correct option. They are dilated by a scale factor, means if we change the scale factor, again they will be similar. Third, they are translated down. If we change the position, if we shift them up or down, then there is no change. Here we have the translation to down, so it is not here. So finally we have only one option. Here it is given that the mirror image of them is not same, means अगर वो दो फिगर्स जो आएंगे वो सेम नहीं है, तो डेफिनेटली यहाँ पर सिमिलरिटी जो होगी वो अफेक्ट होगी, यहाँ से सिमिलरिटी जो है वो चेंज होगी. दैट्स व्हाई द करेक्ट ऑप्शन हियर इज फोर्थ वन. इफ दे आर नॉट द मिरर इमेज ऑफ वन अनदर, देन they will not be similar. So let us come to the third part of this question. We have two similar triangles and their scale factor is A ratio B. The scale factor of this corresponding sides is A ratio B. Then we have to find out which statement is true about the different parameters of that triangle. So the ratio of their perimeters is CA ratio B. Second option, their altitudes have a ratio A ratio B. Their medians have a ratio of A by 2 ratio B. And finally, the angle bisectors have a ratio A square ratio B square. Clearly, you must be knowing that when we have two triangles similar, the ratio of their perimeter is same as the ratio of their sides. So this is a wrong option. When we come to the medians, let me come to these two which are not simple. So we will find out the correct answer. It's very simple. Their medians have a ratio. The triangles are similar, then the medians will have a ratio same as the sides. Again, the angle bisectors will not have ratio A square, ratio B square, because the angle bisectors will not be related to A ratio B here. So finally we have only one option, that is the ratio of altitudes which is same as the ratio of their sides, that is the scale factor. So we can say this option is correct. The altitudes in two similar triangles is always same as the ratio of their sides, that is here we define as scale factor. So here the option second is correct. Their altitudes have a ratio A ratio B. So let us come to the next question, 18D. The question is the shadow of a stick 5 meter long is 2 meter. We have a stick which is having a shadow 2 meters in length. At the same time, the shadow of a tree which is having a height of 12.5 meters is, first option is 3 meters, second is 3.5 meters, third is 4.5, and the fourth one is 5 meters. So let us think about this situation. We have a sun placed here, and the shadow of a stick which is 5 meters in length is given as 2 meters. This is the stick. Then this will make an angle of 90 degree with the base, that is the shadow here. So the length, this is 5 and the shadow is 2. We have to find, if we have a tree, its shadow length when the height of tree is given as 12.5 meters. So clearly these two triangles are similar, and let me take this as x. So if they are similar, then that ratio of corresponding sides will be same, that is 5 upon 12.5. The height of the stick upon height of tree is same as the length of shadow in stick, that is 2 meters, upon the x which we have to find the shadow of a tree. When we cross multiply this, we will be getting 5x is equals to 25, and from here x is coming out to be 5 meters. So the shadow of this tree with whose height is 12.5 meters is 5 meters. So the fourth option is. Let us come to the last part of this question. Here we have a different situation. We have a mathematical model of a student of a farmhouse roof with certain measurements. It has various things. The most important part for us to solve this question is all the edges of a pyramid in the model have length 12 मीटर. एक पिरामिड आपको गिवन है जिसकी हर एक एज जो है वो 12 मीटर है. Here the question is, what is the length of EF, where EF is one of the horizontal edges of block. जो horizontal edges हैं उसमें से आपको ये निकालना है कि इसका EF का जो लेंथ है वो कितना है. Clearly in the figure it is something like this. If we look at the figure, we have this information like this point is T, this is A and this one is B, and here we have point E and point F. In the description above the question, it is given that E and F are the midpoints of AT and TB respectively, and the total length of this figure here, the total length of AT and TB are 12 meters each. So if it is 12 meters and if we talk about the midpoint E and F, clearly in triangle TAB we can write TE upon EA. Since it is midpoint, so this will be nothing but 6 by 6, that is 1, and if we calculate the ratio TF upon FB, this is again midpoint, so 6 by 6, that is again 1. So we can say TE upon EA is same as TF upon FB. We have a very famous theorem in this chapter, triangle, that is basic proportionality theorem or Fell's theorem. So by converse of Fell's theorem, we can write here this line EF is parallel to AB. This is a very important result. EF and AB are parallel. If they are parallel, then we have one more information here. In 9th class, you must have studied about the midpoint theorem. If EF and AB are parallel and they are intersecting with the midpoints of the triangle, then EF will be just half of AB. This can be proved very easily. Here, the length of AB is nothing but the edge length of the pyramid. So EF is nothing but 1 by 2 of 12, that is 6 meters. So from here we can calculate the length of EF, that is coming out here as 6 meters. So this is again a very simple question, and this is the end of the second question based on case study, which is related to the triangle. So let us come to the third question of case study based question. Here we have a new case study which is based on the polynomials, and here we have a very simple application based on the parabolas, which is highway and overpasses or underpasses. You must have seen in your life, everyday life. The highway underpass is a parabolic in shape, just like the parabolas. We drew the graph of quadratic equation, which is known as parabola. It is a graph that results from p of x is equals to x square plus px plus p, and it is symmetric about the vertical line, as you must have seen in the question in your chapter 2. And the minimum and maximum point is called vertex when we have upper open and the lower open point according to the value of a. Let us come to the question directly. These are very simple questions. The first question here is given as, if the highway overpass is represented by this equation, what are its zeros? हमको इस equation के zero निकालना है. There is a direct question where p of x is x square minus 2x minus 8. So here we have to find out the zeros of this. So clearly it is a case of splitting of middle term problem. So we can split this by using the factors of x in form of minus 4x plus 2x minus 8. And if we look at these two pairs now, from the first pair we can take out x, so x minus 4. And if we take out 2 from the second pair, it will get 2 into x minus 4. So overall we have x minus 4 as common, the remaining is x plus 2. So when we talk about the zeros, so the zeros of p of x is x minus 4 is equals to 0, or x plus 2 is equals to 0. So from here we are getting the value of x as 4, or x is equals to minus 2. So here clearly we have 4 and minus 2, which is your second option. Let us come to the second part of this question. We have a situation here. The highway overpass is represented graphically. If we plot that on the graph, the zeros of a polynomial can be expressed graphically, and now we have to answer according to this. Number of zeros of a polynomial is equals to the number of points where the graph of polynomial intersect x-axis, intersect y-axis, intersect x or y-axis, and fourth one is none of the above. यहाँ पर जो भी इक्वेशन आती है वो पैराबोला हमेशा अपवर्ड या डाउनवर्ड ओपन होता है, और ये नंबर ऑफ जीरोस जो है वो हम हमेशा देखते हैं कि जो ग्राफ है उसका वो एक्स एक्सिस पर कितनी जगह इंटरसेक्ट करेगा. एट मोस्ट इट कैन बी 2. पैराबोला में जो इक्वेशन है p ऑफ x, दैट इज x स्क्वायर प्लस bx प्लस c. सो हियर the maximum number of zeros can be 2, so it can have value 0, 1 or 2. So this can be we can find out this by just observing the x-axis, the number of times the graph is intersecting the x-axis. That will give us the number of zeros of the given polynomial. So the correct option here is first, the intersection of the polynomial at x-axis. We will give the number of zeros to it. So let us come to the C part of this question number 19. The graph of the quadratic polynomial is the first option is straight line, second is circle, third is parabola and fourth is ellipse. क्वाड्रेटिक पोलिनोमियल का जो ग्राफ होता है, जब हम इसको ड्रॉ करते हैं तो एक पैराबोला आता है, जैसा कि हमने पिछले क्वेश्चन में भी देखा था. एक्स और वाई एक्सिस है, इसका जब ग्राफ बनाएंगे तो वो कितने पॉइंट पे एक्स एक्सिस पे कट कर रहा है, टच कर रहा है, तो हमको नंबर ऑफ जीरोस उससे पता चलते हैं. सो इट इज क्लियरली अ पैराबोला. सो द थर्ड ऑप्शन हियर इज द करेक्ट. Now let us come to this fourth part of question number 19. The question is, the representation of highway underpass whose one zero is 6 and sum of the zeros is 0 is first option x square minus 6x plus 2 x square minus 36 x square minus 6 and x square minus 3. So this is related to the relationship between the zeros and coefficients. So let us come to that. Here 1 0 is given. Let the fruits are alpha and beta. Then we have the value of alpha here, it is 6, and the sum of 0, alpha plus beta, is given as 0. So from here, if we substitute the value, we get beta is equal to minus 6. The value of beta is coming out to be minus 6. So the required equation which will represent the underpass, so the required equation will be x square minus sum of zeros alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta. So here let me calculate the value of alpha beta. This is 6 into minus 6, so we are getting here minus 36. So from here what we are getting, x square minus alpha plus beta, the sum of 0 is 0, x plus minus 36. So finally the answer is x square minus 36. So from here the solution of the equation which will represent the either under pass is x square minus 36, which is our second option. Let us come to the last question of this question number 19. The number of zeros that polynomial fx, which is defined as x minus 2 whole square plus 4, can have is. We have to find the number of zeros. As you know that the number of zeros of a quadratic polynomial is at most 2. So the fourth option, that is 3, is not possible at all. So from these 3 we will have the correct answer, and for this what we can do is the number of zeros can be obtained by equating the equation with 0. So here we have to put f of x as 0. So what we are getting, x minus 2 whole square plus 4 is equal to 0. If we try to get the value of x here, what we can do, we will shift this here, x minus 2 whole square is equal to minus 4. Now the square of any number, the situation here, the square of a number is coming out to be minus 4. So here in this case there will be no real root. So there will be no real root. So the number of zeros which we can have here is 0. Means इस इक्वेशन का कोई भी रियल रूट एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा, इसलिए यहाँ नंबर ऑफ जीरोज जो होंगे हम 0 रखेंगे. मीन्स द थर्ड ऑप्शन इज द करेक्ट आंसर. Let us come to the question number 28, which is the last question of case study type question. Here this is the fourth question, and this is related to the statistics, and here we have a data which is related to a 100-meter race. A stopwatch used to find the time that it took a group of students to run 100-meter race. So the data based on that is given in tabular form. The time in second is 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and 80 to 100 seconds. The number of students are given here. The first question here is estimate the mean time taken by the student to finish the race. Here to calculate the mean, we need some values. To find out that we need a table which will be different from this. For this we will be needing the values of xi, and the value of that xi is the sum of upper limit and lower limit divided by 2. We call it class mark. So the class mark for each interval 0 plus 20 by 2. So we can write it as 10. We'll start with 10, 0 plus 20 upon 2. Then next will be 30. Then next will be 50. Next will be 70, and the last one will be 90. These are the class marks according to the given data. Then we have the frequencies with us. The FI number of students are given, that is 8, 10, 13, 6 and 3. Now to calculate the mean, we need the xi and fi, that is fi into xi or xi fi, multiplication of these two values. When we multiply this, we are getting 80, then 300, then 650, then we get 420, and finally we get 270. So these are the values. Now as we need the value of mean, that is x bar, we have very simple formula, sigma fi xi divided by sigma fi. So for this we need these two values, summation of fi xi. Means if we want to add all these values, when you will calculate this, the sum of these values, the sum of all these values is coming out to be 1720, and the sum of frequencies here is 40. When we add all the numbers of students, we will be getting 40, and the product xi fi is coming out to be 1720. So let us substitute the values. This is 1720, and the sum of frequency is 40. When we divide this, we are getting here the mean value as 43. So the mean time taken by a student to finish the race is nothing but 43. So the third option in this first part is the correct. So the next part of this 20th question, here we have to find what will be the upper limit of model class. We have a new term here, that is model class. And as you know, the model class is the class with the highest frequency. Model class is defined as class having maximum frequency. So here the class which is having the maximum frequency out of these values is 13. So the class which is model class, here the model class is 40 to 60. So we need the value of upper limit. So upper limit is the greater value out of this. The upper limit here is 50. So clearly the third option 50 is the correct answer from the given. So now let us come to the third part, that is the C part of question number 20. The question is, the construction of cumulative frequency table is useful in determining the value of, the first option is mean, second is median, third is mode, and the fourth one is all of above. So यहाँ पर जो क्वेश्चन है, cumulative frequency का कैलकुलेशन हम कब करते हैं, इनमें से कौन सी सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी को कैलकुलेट करने में यूज करते हैं. You must be knowing this answer. This is a very simple question. In median calculation we use cumulative frequency. Let us come to the fourth part of this question number 20. Here the question is the sum of lower limits of the median class and the model class is. So first of all we have to define the median class and model class. The model class we have used in the some previous parts. It was 40 to 60 as the maximum frequency is 13. So the model class here is 40 to 60. So the lower limit of this is 40. So lower limit of model class is 40. Now let us find out the median class. To find out the median class we need the cumulative frequency. So I am writing here the values. First of all the class interval 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80 and 80 to 100. Then we have the frequencies here. The frequencies are 8, 10, 13, 6 and 3, and now we have the cumulative frequency which is useful in calculation of median as we have seen in the previous question. So how to calculate the cumulative frequency? We will be adding the continuous frequencies. Like for the first, we do not have any class before this, so the cumulative frequency will be 8 is. Then the cumulative frequency for class 20 to 40 will be 8 plus 10, that is 18. Then for the next class it will be 18 plus 13, which is 31. Then 31 plus 6, that is 37. Then 37 plus 3, that is 40. So this the sum of all frequencies is coming out n, that is 40 here, the last interval. Now to find out the median class, we need the value of n by 2. So n by 2 here is 40 by 2, 20. So the class which is having the cumulative frequency just greater than n by 2. Greater than अगर देखेंगे तो 3 classes है, but just greater than 20 is only one, that is 40 to 60. So the median class is here. The median class is again 40 to 60. So the lower limit is again 40 here. So if we go through the sum of lower limits of median class and the model class, both the values are 40 each. So the sum will be nothing but 40 plus 40, that is 80. So the correct answer for the sum of lower limits of median and model class is 80. That is. So the last question of this 20th question is the E part of this. How many students finished the race within 1 minute? We have to calculate the number of students which finished their race in 1 minute. The total students which are able to finish the race in 1 minute is 8, 10, 13 and here till here only. So this is more than 50 now. So we have the answer here, which is the sum of these three values. So the number of students who finishes, required number of students who finishes the race before 1 minute are 8 plus 10 plus 13, which we can also observe from the cumulative frequency table, and this is coming out here as 31. So the correct answer in this is 31, that is the third option.